Hi, I'm Christine Hernandez, Livestock Specialist here at Heifer USA, and I just wanted to take a few minutes and show you something I've created over the last few years to help with the efficiency in our pastured pig enterprise. Stay tuned to the end of this video to find out what my favorite item inside this bucket is and why it might surprise you. So this is what I call my pig bucket. I have a few of these around the ranch. So here at Heifer USA, we raise anywhere from 600 to 800 pigs out on pasture throughout the whole year. And so with that, we have batches ranging from 50 pigs to 150 pigs. With raising a large number of pigs out on pasture in multiple locations, I am not always the only person to do chores or to check on the pigs. I wanted something that no matter if it was myself or another farmhand doing the chores, everything we would need to fix a problem would be right here. We don't have to be driving back and forth to our ag center or to different locations to grab the supplies that we need. So let's take a look and see what I have inside my bucket. The first thing I have in my bucket is red animal safe spray paint. So this comes in very handy at any point during your pig's time on your farm. We simply just use this to mark the pig with a line or a dot so that myself or anyone else can easily find that pig and put eyes on them a couple times a day. I also have a hammer. So this comes into play when I'm moving my pigs from paddock to paddock. We use a temporary grounding rod. And so when I'm moving that grounding rod to a new place, I use this hammer to get it as far into the ground as possible so that I have a really good grounding source. Power to power alligator clips. Since I am using poly wire, temporary wire to fence my pigs into each paddock, I use these power alligator clips to connect each individual side so that the power gets carried from one side to the other. I also use these clips to wrap around the corner post so that the tension stays tight at each corner of their paddock. I have a voltage tester. So this is just a cheaper voltage tester that we can get from our local agri co-op. It's maybe $10 or $15. So I keep this in the bucket so no matter who's doing chores, they can test the fence and see how much voltage our charger is putting out to make sure that fence is nice and hot for those pigs. Something that I always keep with me or in my gator and that I prefer is the Gallagher fault finder. So this is a lot more expensive than that cheaper voltage tester. This can tell us in which direction we're losing voltage and help us find a short if there is any. This has a digital screen, so it's a lot easier to read what voltage your charger is putting out and how that's reading on your fence. I have a shaker can in our bucket, and this is very, very handy when our pigs first go out on pasture and for their first 2 or 3 new paddock moves. They're still learning what's going on, and so this is a low stress handling aid. I have BBs in this aluminum can, and it helps the pigs move to their new paddock. Once they're big, like the pigs behind me, they know exactly what's going on and they basically move themselves. I have a scraper and a kitty litter scoop in my bucket, and I use both of these items for our pig feeders. So especially during the rainy, muddy season, I use this scraper to get that mud off of the inside of the trough. And then I can use this kitty litter scoop to scoop out that dried mud or the wet mud, shake out the feed so it drops back into the trough, and then I can discard that mud. We have a small scrub brush in our bucket so that every time we dump out that pig water, we can take this scrub brush and just quickly scrub out any dirt or algae that's building up within that water so that the pigs have access to clean water all the time. Since our pigs are constantly moving paddock to paddock, we use a lot of garden hoses to get water to our pigs. And so with that, we have issues that pop up within the water hoses, whether they're leaking or they have a pinprick or a rip in them. And so we have all the hose items we need to fix any issue that we could come upon. So the first thing we have in our bucket for that would be a utility knife, so we can cut out any problem spot within that hose and fix it. Since we are using a lot of your basic water hoses and they get moved around constantly throughout all of our enterprises, the original hose end tends to not last very long here. We have a supply of new ends that we can just replace. So we have a new male hose end, we have a female hose end. I buy the 5/8. That's the size hose that we typically buy. So just make sure you buy the proper size for whatever hose you're using. And then we have a splice. So if you have a hole or a rip in the middle of your hose, you can cut that out, add this splice in there, and your hose will remain that same length. I also like to have a few of these bigger hose clamps in our bucket. If you buy the new hose ends from the store, it does come with these smaller size clamps. I just find that that doesn't keep very well, and I tend to get leaks in between the hose and this new piece. So instead of using that smaller hose clamp, I'll put one of these larger ones, either size 8 or size 10, whichever our hardware store has in stock. To tighten these larger hose clamps, I simply have a flathead screwdriver in each bucket. That's an easy way to tighten these. There's a few other things you can use to tighten them as well. For example, a cordless drill with the correct attachment on it. I also have an extra female to female hose adapter in my bucket, and that is because of the specific pig waters I use for all of our batches. And if you want to see how we make that, go ahead and check out one of our other YouTube videos that takes you step by step how to create one of those. But this is what goes between the pig water and our hose. I also like to have a whole bunch of these rubber hose washers on hand. So this is the #1 thing that we usually have to replace. These hose washers go inside the female hose ends and inside that female to female hose adapter. And they just tend to fall out over time, or they get a rip in them, and that causes a leak at your waterers and within your hoses. So just having an extra one of these actually helps us save a lot of wasted water. We have an extra roll of Teflon tape. And so this is what you can use to connect your male to female hose ends. I use it for the plastic on our pig waters connecting to the hose ends to make a really good seal to prevent any water leaks. And my favorite item in the bucket is actually our pencil pouch. So this is where I keep all of those smaller hose items to help me stay organized, and it's easy to find those items within the bucket. I keep my pig bucket with my pigs at all times, so it moves with the pigs from paddock to paddock. I keep the bucket just outside of the pig fence so they don't have access to it, and I keep my Gallagher solar charger on top of it. This helps keep the solar charger off of the ground, especially if it rains. It's not sitting in any rainwater or mud and helps keep the solar charger dry. That is everything that I keep in my pig bucket out on pasture. If you want to make one of these pig buckets for your farm to help keep you organized and efficient, check out the product links in the description below. Anything you purchase through those links, we do get a small commission on, which makes it possible for us to make more of these educational videos for you. If you have found this video valuable, please like and subscribe to our channel. If you want more great pasture pig content, please check out our video on how we made these pig waterers right behind me and how I train my pigs to the electric fence.